Right before we jump into this video, if you'd like me to send you a free guide to capturing motion in low light situations, just look for this orange box over on froknowsphoto.com, put your name, email address in it, hit send it. I'm going to send you that guide for free. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this video is for you Sony E Mount shooters who are looking for super telephoto zoom lenses that might be more affordable than some of those, say, 600 f4s, because we're talking about lenses that zoom to 600 millimeters and a little beyond to help you decide which lens might be the right one for you. Should you go with a Sony first-party lens, like we have a 400 to 800, as well as the 200 to 600, but I'm also going to discuss options that Sigma has as well. Now, I say affordable because they're not $13,000 600 millimeter f4s. They fall in much lower than that, but the point of the video is to help you decide which direction might be good for you. Now, I do have hands-on reviews of all of the lenses that I'm going to be talking about, which means you can go down in the description down below to click on those to see the specs, the sample images, get my final thoughts, and of course, the sniff and wind tunnel test of each of those lenses. Think of this as the Cliff Notes video about these lenses, and if you want to know more, you can of course click down below in the description, and if you decide you want to purchase any of these, there are affiliate links down below that help us to continue to make these videos as well. Now, before we get too far, you can see that we have two of the lenses we're going to talk about here in person, and some of the other third-party ones I don't have here anymore because after we're done reviewing them, we have to send them back. Now let's go down the list of options you have for super telephoto lenses that I kind of say are affordable, even though the most expensive one here is the 400 to 800, which comes in at $2,899. These are going to give you the best bang for your buck for wildlife, for nature, and for sports. So this is the 400 to 800. It's a fantastic lens at f6.3 to f8 GOSS. It's the only one that we have here that's going beyond 600 millimeters for Sony E Mount and giving you 400 to 800. It's a fantastic lens that surprised me, and even though it's a G lens and not a G Master, I think those two lines are melding together these days, and the quality of both are just fantastic. This has a great throw. It is just a well put together lens that's a nice option. Now, another option that people on Sony are definitely going to be looking at are 200 to 600 millimeter 5.6 to 6.3 GOSS. Now, at the time of making this, this is a much older lens. In the future, they might come out with a version 2, but a lot of people are trying to decide, do I want 200 to 600, which is of course more than 4 to 8. I mean, it's the same range, but 200 is wider and it's more versatile for certain types of sports, where 4 to 8 is really just giving you that reach out and touch someone. Now, both of these lenses are what's called internal zooming lenses. Where you get to external is when we start to talk about the Sigmas, which we'll do in just a second. This lens right here, the 200 to 600, comes in at $2,000. Now, it's a little softer on the outside in terms of at 600 millimeters. It's a little softer, and I suspect when they come out with a newer version, it's going to be much sharper all the way throughout the range. Still not a deal breaker, but it is a very nice option. Now, moving on to the Sigma. Sigma has two really nice massive zoom lenses. You have a Sigma 150 to 600 f5 to 6.3, which is a DG/DN OS Sport, so it has optical stabilization and it's designed specifically for mirrorless cameras, and it only comes in at $1,500. That is a great lens because it is versatile. You get your 150 all the way out to 600, and of course it's not going beyond, because I already said the 400 to 800 goes beyond that to the 800 millimeters. Now, the difference here is there's limitations. These Sony lenses on Sony bodies are capable of shooting up to 120 frames per second if your camera can handle it. You could of course get the 20 or 30 frames per second depending on which bodies you're using, and the reason I bring that up is because the third-party lenses like Sigma and Tamron are limited to 15 frames per second in continuous shooting, so there's a software limitation that Sony put there, so keep that in mind. Now, if your camera only shoots 15 frames a second, you don't have anything to worry about. If you do have one that shoots more, you are being limited there. Now, the 150 to 600 millimeters, has a long throw, meaning it takes a while to turn that lens. It's a couple of twists to get it to go out. It's not as smooth as me using my thumb and forefinger on both of these Sony lenses to get it to rotate through the line. And those are just much easier to use, but you have to think maybe that $1,500 in savings is very nice. Let me jump in here real quick because I want to show you FroPack 4 in action on this photo, starting with Blue's Clues, followed by Brooklyn, C41, Copper Tone, High C, Kaleidoscope, Mel Brooks, Saltwater Taffy, Thick, Tintype, and Wet Hot American Summer. But check this out. My all-time favorite from FroPack 1 is Skittles. With one click of a button, we go boom. But check this out. Exclusive and all new to FroPack 4, we've got 4 custom adaptive Lightroom presets that include Face Enhance, Full Body Enhance, Eye Only Enhance, as well as Background Blur. So look, if you want to speed up your raw workflow, give yourself a great starting point, or you're just tired of other people's presets sucking, ours don't suck. We've created 14 all-new custom Lightroom presets that you can check out right now at froknowsphoto.com/FroPack4. While you're over there, you can play with the sliders to see the befores and the afters, and if you decide to pick them up right now, they are currently on sale. Or if you want to get the Grand Slam bundle that includes FroPack 1, 2, 3, and 4, and of course Skittles, you will save even more. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, I have to show you what external zooming is, and the only one I have here right now that shows this so happens to be a Canon, but just think about this. This is external zooming. As you turn the ring, it is zooming out. Whereas with these internal zooming lenses, when you zoom all the way out, nothing changes, nothing extends beyond that. So those Sigma lenses are going to extend out beyond what the internal zooming does. So you just have to keep that in mind when you're shooting. Sigma has another option, which is a 60 to 600 millimeter. It's a 4.5 to 6.3 DG DN OS sports lens as well. They have different delineations, sports, they have contemporary. The sports are built very well. They're nice professional lenses, and Sigma's done a great job. Now this one comes in at $2,000. Now the difference between the 200 to 600 and the 60 to 600, other than the external zooming, is the fact that one goes to 60 and the other one doesn't. So you are getting a mega range. So if you're someone who's a wildlifer, birder, nature photographer, and an animal might come up close to you, you have the ability to go from 60 all the way out to 600. Now just remember, you're gonna have to twisty McTwisterson that thing a ton to go all the way out. And personally, if I'm deciding between the two Sigmas, the 150 to 600 or the 60 to 600, I rather have the 150. A little less range there, but I think it's still better if you're wildlife or nature or for the sports. But if you want more bang for your buck, you can go with the 60 to 600 and just know it's the same price as the Sony. It's a toss-up there, and this video is to help you decide which direction you want to go, take the pros and cons, and also check out the reviews that we've already done. This video shows you what is currently available. Now, as an honorable mention, there is a Tamron lens that is 150 to 500. It's not up here because, well, one, we don't have it, but we also said that this goes 600 and beyond. But I just want to say that Tamron does a nice job as well, and maybe they'll come out with a longer zoom at some point, and that's something to keep in mind. Now, in terms of price, like I said, we've got $2,899 for a 400 to 800, and we've got $2,000 for the 200 to 600. The Sigma 60 to 600 is $2,000 as well, and we got $1,500 for the 150 to 600. So not a major spread. I think that you can't go wrong with any of the lenses that you go with, but the reason you would go with a 400 to 800 is if you're one of those birders who is sitting on your porch, you're sitting in your car, or you're going out into nature and you're shooting smaller birds, that extra reach from 4 to 8 is going to be invaluable. That's going to be something that is going to help you where these others don't, and it's going to save you from having to crop. So keep that in mind, but it's also an f8. You've got your 200 to 600. It's going to be very good for sports. I think it's a better option for sports because 800 just goes too far in my mind, and both Sigmas are really good. You have to decide if you're going to look at the Sigma world, do I want 60 to start at my zoom, or do I want 150? That's for you to figure out. I already said that I like the 150 myself, and you have to figure out which one might be the right choice for you. Now, I know a lot of nature and wildlife photographers like to use teleconverters to give them more bang for their buck, 1.4s and 2x teleconverters. Well, Sigma doesn't offer any teleconverters right now for their lenses, and you can't use Sony's teleconverters on Sigma's glass. You can use the teleconverters here, but remember, 1.4, you're losing a stop of light. With a 2x converter, you're losing 2 stops of light, meaning when you're out at 800 millimeters at f8, you're really at f16. So you're losing a lot of light. Now, another difference between these two is when you're out at 600 millimeters here, you're at 6.3. This lens goes to 6.3 at 400 millimeters. Now, at 600 millimeters is where it starts to go to f8. So keep that in mind when you're making your decisions. Now, I know I said that this is a budget-friendly video, and budget-friendly is relative because 600 millimeter f4s from Sony are $13,000, but Sigma came out with something that I have to show you. It's not light, it's not cheap, it's massive. This right here is a 300 to 600 millimeter f4. This is another amazing wildlife and sport lens and nature lens for you to keep in mind. It is $6,000, so it's a lot, it's more than double the price of the 400 to 800. Just need to let you know, this does exist. We do have videos on this down below as well. This is just another option that gets into a much more expensive price range, but it might be right for someone out there who wants a fixed f4 that's a 300 to 600 that weighs 9 pounds or 4 kilos. Massive pieces of glass. Let me cut in here real quick and let you know that this video is brought to you by Squarespace. If you're looking to build your very own online portfolio, use what I've been using for my personal website at jaredpolin.com for over 15 years. It's simple, easy, affordable, and I don't need to know any coding. And now, today, I can add a web store to sell my photos. I can sell presets, digital products, anything I want because it's so easy. To get your 14-day free trial, head on over to squarespace.com/FroKnowsPhoto. If you decide that it's for you, use the code FroKnowsPhoto at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Now, let's get back to the video. Another thing to keep in mind with all of these lenses is balance and handholdability. They're all within a half or so a pound of each other, from 4.5 to 5.5 pounds across the board. That 1 pound isn't gonna make much of a difference. That 300 to 600 at 9 pounds is not really meant to be handheld. You can handhold all of the lenses that we're talking about in this video, but the 400 to 800 is something that if I'm gonna be shooting a game or I'm gonna be shooting wildlife, I'm either having it on a tripod for wildlife with a Wimberley type head, or I'm gonna be on a monopod, which is gonna help stabilize it and take all that weight off of me. So all of these lenses are really designed for you to put on a tripod or a monopod, but yes, of course, you could handhold for short periods of time. Now, if you are shooting video, because I did talk about most of this from a still standpoint, is as you have external zooming, that's gonna change your framing. It's just gonna be a little more awkward in the frame. It's gonna jiggle just a little bit more with those external zooming lenses, where that won't happen as much with this. I mean, maybe you're shooting bird videos. The 400 to 800 is going to be fantastic for a bird video like that. So what do you think? Which lens is the right one for you? If you already own some of these, leave some comments down below with the pros and the cons to help other people decide which one might be the right one for them. So don't forget, the links are down below in the description to check out the reviews of all the lenses we talked about as well. If you want to make a purchase, we do have affiliate links which help us to continue to make these videos. So thank you very much for watching. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.